And so I'm with you, Stephen, and also with you, Nick, in the sense that I think that AI can do a lot of things for us. I think that AI as a tool or as a toolkit can help us become more productive. It can help us move faster. It can help us do things better, make fewer mistakes. There are a lot of things that it can help us do, but ultimately it works best for the most part when it's working around a human who knows what they're doing, as opposed to this concept that, well, AI, because it can do certain things, will replace, a large percentage of jobs anytime soon, if ever. I don't see that happening in the next 5 years, certainly, and probably not in the next 10 either.
Yeah, I want to jump in with a metaphor here. Now, for what it's worth, I actually majored in the impact of technology on society when I was in college, and I find myself studying that even now when I'm not working at Futurum. I'm actually a historian of watchmaking, and one of the things that I have written about on that side of things is the rise of the American mass production system. And I think it's relevant here. So let me give you guys a little context and see if this metaphor is appropriate to, well, I guess our listeners, which are, in the enterprise technology, software development, kind of world. So a lot of people mistakenly believe, including the Americans at the time, that American industrialization happened because of things like the assembly line. But it was actually sort of the reverse of that. Those things were developed because of the inputs that the American manufacturers had, which is to say, no skills. So essentially, what happened when American factories started to appear, they were trying to hire people into those factories, but they had a lot of people, but no skills. And so the successful development of American manufacturing in the second half of the 19th century happened when they developed production lines that could bring in workers with no skills, literally zero skills, literally a guy who just came in off the field or a woman who just came in from the home and who could take a spot on an assembly line without having to have gone through an apprenticeship and been trained and so on. And that worked phenomenally well, from the Springfield Rifle to the Waltham Watch Company to Henry Ford, in building this massive scale of production. But unfortunately, it also came back to bite American industry. And one of the reasons that we don't have American watches anymore, and one of the reasons that American automobile production fell in the 70s and so on, is because the Americans didn't invest in skills. They kept investing in no skills and kept investing in machinery rather than in people. Whereas if you look at countries that were more successful, like the Swiss watch industry, but also, for example, like the Japanese automotive industry, they learned, ironically, from Americans like Edwards Deming, that investing in better and better workers was the way to improve the product in the long run. And so in the case of the Swiss, they basically continued this incredible focus on apprenticeship, and they were able to come out dominant in this field in the 20th century. Now, having an industry that didn't get destroyed by war also helped, but they were able to do really, really well because they had this incredible reservoir of skills. And those same skilled people were able to bring that industry back in modern times. And it's the same when you look at a lot of other industries where it's, I don't want to say easy, but it is fairly straightforward to develop massive scale at the expense of future success. It's much harder to develop future success because it means investing. And if you can see my metaphor, when I'm thinking about software development, my concern is more that we may hollow out skilled workers at the expense of thinking that lines of code or pages of text or ridiculous images to illustrate blog posts is a sign of success rather than seeing that as a sign of failure.